Hello, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Oweleke TV. My name is JIBRIN, and this is my angle. We have Barrister Manta, Barrister Austin Manta, joining us as always again today. Barrister Austin Manta is a very senior legal practitioner of over 40 years, that's over 4 decades in practice, active practice. So I consider him to be an authority in law. Therefore, if you are joining us for the first time, you want to stick with us because you will be benefiting from his vast knowledge of the law and the politics. He's a public affair and current affairs analyst as well. Very good at that. Barrister, thank you once again for gracing our show.
A pleasure to be here.
All right. Let me play this video and we'll take it off from there. Hold on.
But I've made up my mind that if this is the end, so be it. Because we can't allow the country. It is difficult to be in opposition in this country. Extremely difficult. Because everything is against you. People don't even want to see you. They don't even want to talk to you. I see colleagues that greet them at the airport, they don't even want to reply because they feel you're not, they don't want. Tax is a function of productivity. The country is unproductive. So are you going to tax 100 million Nigerians that are living in extreme poverty? Are you going to tax those people I saw in IDP camps yesterday? Are you going to tax the factories that are shut down in Kano? Go to Bompai, go to Shradan 1, Shradan 2. Where are you going to tax? You tax is a function of productivity. When the country is productive, people are gainfully employed, then you can tax them. And we can generate more tax. What we need now is to reflect the country, make it productive, and then we can talk about generating more revenue. Let me assure you, what is on the table now is that everybody who means well should come together to get the country to work.
Yeah, whatever will happen, let it happen, or whatever. I think I'm just paraphrasing him that he no longer cares about what will happen. Barrister, you and I, we know we have an uncensored and very clear opinion about Peter Obi and his 2023 presidential election. What is your thought on what he just said? That is the first statement he made, that he doesn't care anymore. Whatever will happen, let it happen. Do you think it's a little bit too late, or it's still on course?
Well, you have to understand that statement is like you quote it in the middle. That is not the beginning of the statement, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
What he was saying is that he has been harassed. His businesses some of them have been shut down.
Yes.
He has received threats to his life, all manner of harassment, to the extent that even some people, his friends that he knows very well, they don't want to associate with him. So in short, he was like, okay, if he will die, he's ready for it. That is principally what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
But
yeah, sorry to cut you short. Again, remember, it's still in line with what we expected. Okay, let me use that word. What I expected him to do prior to 2023. It's all about risk. He say he doesn't care anymore what will happen, let it happen. You just like you pointed, he's facing serious persecution. What this persecution he's facing now, and the readiness to even die if the need be, is that he's ready to even stick his neck to the cause. what is the difference between then and now? Because then, obviously, we talked about the risk, because when you come out as an opposition, you organize protests after the election, reject the election, organize for protest. Obviously, it will eventually lead to arrest and incarceration, and possibly the risk to his life. What is different between then and now? The risk of then and now, barrister. That's why I asked: is it a
Yes,
little too late for him to be open to anything?
yes. I was going to point out that then you asked about the difference between then and now.
Yes.
In the immediate aftermath of the election, let's call it the climax. Now, anything after that becomes the anticlimax. So you see, as far as Peter Obi is concerned, we sort of reach a climax, and anything that he says or happens now is anticlimax. It's like you reach this height, and whatever you do now, you can't go above. You just sloping down
Yeah.
gently. That's what is happening to him. The people have realized that perhaps if he had taken power, in 2023, maybe something would have changed in Nigeria. But people have now realized that the matter is now beyond Peter Obi. The situation of Nigeria is beyond him and is beyond the system. That it is principally the system that is creating the problem, the lack of development, the lack of forward movement. So they realize that the issues now are more than whatever he says now, like I say, becomes an anticlimax. It does not fit into a solution that will take Nigeria out of the quagmire that we have found ourselves. All these things he's saying, they fit into a normal situation where you talk of the economy, when you apply or increase taxation, but the situation now is abnormal, not just in the sense of economic policy, but principally in the sense of the system and the structure of the country called Nigeria. That is the main issue now. The system and the structure of the country called Nigeria is the main issue. The system of governance and the structure of governance and the structure of the country or federation called Nigeria has now become the principal issue, and everybody seems to agree now that it is not a political palliative matter that you can just put together this government and they will solve Nigeria's problems. It's more than that. The whole thing has to be uprooted and shaken over, and entirely new thing brought up. Otherwise, we have no hope, we have no future. So people are no longer responding to him like in the build-up and the election itself. They are no longer taking him serious like before, because they realize that the issue is beyond his own capacity as well.
Yeah, obviously, what do we expect? We don't expect anything more than what we are getting right now. Peter Obi, well, for those of you probably, for my returning viewers, you already know my opinion on Peter Obi. And for those of you who are just joining on for the first time, I will just summarize. Peter Obi, the truth is, this issue of he's ready to, that just came out now, earlier this week, that he's ready to die. He don't care about anything again, whatever, because he's obviously, just like Barrister Manta noted, that he's facing persecution from the government, which involves his business. Probably they are attacking his business. Of course, government is powerful. If you have Peter Obi is a billionaire, he has whatever. I think he's part of the owner of Fidelity Bank. He has his into importation and other stuff or whatever. He has stake in several other stuff. So definitely the government may have or must have been fighting all those sources of income, a sort of to be able to coerce him into capitulating, a sort of or caving to their interest. Unfortunately, it's not going now. This is one of those things I mentioned that that what we expected Peter Obi to do was actually to put everything on the line. Be prior to 2023 election, he was the face. He was organically, naturally made of the face of revolution. That is political revolution. Um, that could have taken place in 2023, but he blew the opportunity up, and that is the problem. My gross with all these whole issues, to me, I think now that he's ready, it's a little too late. Just like Barry Samantha pointed out earlier, that his popularity is waning, is diminishing. That's just the reality. At 2023, he got to the highest he could ever get, or any presidential candidate. Like I said, what happened in 2023 was an unprecedented movement. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria. And so Obi was at the pinnacle of revolution, political revolution. But unfortunately, that was the highest, and now obviously he couldn't have gone higher. So the other direction, the pendulum will swing is obviously downward. And that is why it's diminishing. Nobody, like someone like me, I don't even listen to him anymore. I don't watch any Peter Obi because okay, we'll come to what he's been saying, the substance behind what he's been saying. But Samantha pointed it earlier. So that is the point. Now, honestly, I don't. Peter Obi's issue is just the man blew it up, and I think it's a little too late for him to be ready to give it all, and even ready to die if possible. It's a little too late. I don't expect him to go. If I were in his shoes at this point, honestly, I wouldn't just stick my neck in, risk my life or business because it won't yield. The truth is that it won't yield result. It will not. It could have yielded result during the 2023 election, but I don't think it will anymore. Barrister, sorry, this I didn't expect to actually speak this long. Now, based on what is been, we all know that Peter Obi is a statistics person. Everything they in head, sort of. So he will quote this country, quote that country, quote these statistics, quote this data, and whatever. You noted it earlier that everything he's saying or he has said so far are the standard stuff, are the norm. We all know, and whatever. So, is there any substance? Does his criticism of the government hold water? Can it hold water? Sorry, is it viable? Is it potent? I think that's the right word. Is it potent? Is it something we can take? That we should take seriously?
Well, like I said, and like you noted, there was a moment that he failed to seize, and the moment has passed. Now, if you come to the substance of his statements, like I said, they are normal. Some of the statements, if you don't need to be an economist to know that overtaxing an already impoverished population does not take us anywhere. It is when the economy is booming that even the government revenues can boom. And as of today, you want to get more revenue from taxation from an unproductive economy. It doesn't make much sense. Just like most of the economic policies, so-called, I don't think the Tinubu has economic policies like people say. Personally, I've heard the view repeatedly that he doesn't have any economic policy. So if you look at them, just like those things he's doing, they don't have much sense, and they are not going to lead us anywhere. because number one, they are not well thought out. Number two, they come at the wrong time and in the wrong atmosphere and in the wrong circumstances. So even some things that theoretically are correct, when you want to put it in practice, you see that the circumstances are not right, the time is not right, so you put it aside. So to just be copying or to regurgitating what IMF and World Bank policies are, or theorizing what economic theories talk about, this is not going to lead us anywhere. Not in the immediate future, not in the long-term future. That is the reason why I came to the conclusion, and a lot of people will agree with me, that what is the state of Nigeria now is beyond any government. It's beyond the government of Tinubu. It's beyond the government of anybody coming in 2027. Unless and until we uproot this structure of governance, unless and until we restructure this country and know exactly where we want it to be and what we want it to be, believe me, we have not started the journey of nationhood. We have not started the journey of success. There are too many intricacies in the issue. One principal thing as a lawyer that I know is that there is no respect or reverence for the Constitution. So there's no country that does not have respect for its Constitution that can have law and order. It's impossible. The politicians use the Constitution when it suits them. And when it does not suit them, they manipulate and maneuver and go around it. That is lack of respect. If all of us, the judiciary, the National Assembly, the executive, the average Nigerian, if we have respect for the rule of law, for the Constitution, maybe we can fashion out even a government as this one we have today. A change of personnel at the top can do some magic. But when you look at the structure of Nigeria, where the law is not respected, you have a constitution that makes a clear provision that does not give room for the judiciary to interpret otherwise. But when it suits the government and the politicians and those who control power in Nigeria, they manipulate the court, the Supreme Court, to make a judgment contrary to the constitution. So where are we? There's no respect for the constitution. And some people are telling you that their laws and religions supersede the constitution. So where do you go from there? So unless and until we review the structure of this entity called Nigeria and agree on a positive form of governance, we are groping in the dark. All these sub-topics, sub-arguments, throwing up and there, taxation and other things, believe me, they are just palliatives, equivalent to the palliatives that the government gives 200 bags of rice for 1 million people, or 600 trailer rolls for 100 million people. They will not go anywhere. They will not solve any situation.
Okay. Now what's in your opinion, how do you think we can get to that unless? What are the possible routes or routes to the unless?
It's a very difficult question, because the structures and the powers that be have held the country. If you recall some, I wouldn't call them constitutional conference, but conferences have been held. The last one being Jonathan's conference in the twilight of his administration that sought to bring Nigerians together to see how we can patch up and bring up a sovereign law to governors. But it was overshadowed and overwhelmed by lack of sincerity, and other issues. So if today you want to call all the Nigerian people to come together, let's sit and fashion out a system of governance, because this one certainly is not working. How do you achieve that? You hear some people telling you, oh, the National Assembly, we are the representatives of the people, we can do that. But it is the very National Assembly and the very system that we say they have failed. So we can't go through that route. How do we aggregate the Nigerian tribes and nationalities to come up with something? Is the most difficult thing to do. Because if you base it on current constituencies, current arrangement, believe me, it is not going to work. We will still arrive at the same problem and the same system that failed Nigeria. Is my views are an interim revolutionary period. It would be probably long enough to wash away what we have and stabilize a new thing before we can think of a new system of government. There must be a revolutionary approach spanning probably 20 years that can stabilize things, take us away from the current thinking, from the current way of doing things to something new. This involves even our mindset, the mindset of the average Nigerian as well. And don't for any moment think that the average Nigerian is not guilty. The poor Nigerians are as guilty as the leaders. I'm telling you, because of a mindset that has been institutionalized in the people.
Yeah.
If I go out today to talk to people, no matter my brilliance, no matter the ideas that I have that will help, nobody will listen to me, because the mindset, I don't have anything to give them. I don't have bag of rice, salt, and everything to throw, some money to throw so that people will fight. So nobody will come to me, nobody will listen. If I go and contest, say I want to contest, nobody will vote for me. The only way I can get into it is if I go and ally myself with the power brokers, and those power brokers now impose me. So we have a difficult situation on hand. Only a revolution that will take quite some time to change the mindset of people and redirect us to something new will save this country.
Do you think that Nigeria can ever change to what you have just prescribed or recommended on a peaceful platform?
It's difficult to say. A proper revolution is never peaceful, although there are some revolutions that can be said to be peaceful. But what is in Nigeria now is so pervasive. Is it corruption you will talk of is 100%? Is it a negative mindset of the average Nigerian? Is 100%. So it's going to be, how do you come in a peaceful way to attack a mindset? It's virtually impossible. Don't forget, we have tried it. Remember during Babangina's time when we had, what was this, national orientation,
Yeah,
the Minister of National Orientation.
Yeah.
It was a recognition that the whole orientation and mindset of the Nigerian people was wrong, was negative. And they thought by doing that, by that they even created a ministry for Minister of National Orientation. But of course, the problem is bigger than what was created. So what was created could not solve the problem. That is why I say only a revolutionary approach, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, for a reasonable length of time can redirect our thinking, can redirect our perception, and then from there we'll be able to fashion out a form of government that suits us. Believe me, if today you call the Nigerian people together and say, let's decide, let's jettison this government, let's jettison this system of government and bring new one, the outcome will be as poor as what we are throwing away.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, even though my opinion my opinion is more radical. I understand you as a lawyer. You definitely your opinion will be measured. It's sort of okay, all right. I think now Peter Obi, do you still see him being the face of the opposition or the mega alliance? That obviously there will be an alliance. There's no doubt about that, because all these parties would eventually come together. Do you see Obi as someone? Is he still that strong or popular to be the flag bearer of the conglomerate of parties that will come together?
Not at all. I do not see him fitting into that image. And by the way, I have said on this show before that alliances do not work in Nigeria, and they will not work. The one exception which had peculiar circumstances was 2015.
Yeah, Buhari, I was going to ask you that.
And there was a reason for that. The reason was, in the whole conglomerate of alliance, it was recognized from day one that the leader of that alliance would be General Buhari. There was no contest. There was no challenge. There was nobody to challenge him. All the people that were coming together already agreed that General Buhari would be the leader. Now, in any other alliance or proposed alliance, you do not see anybody here that will back down. And I've made mention on this show before that any alliance that will start, let's come together before we choose our leader, is bound to fail ab initio. Buhari's one was the one that brought all the people together. Yeah. That is why it succeeded. When you talk of Peter Obi now in the coming alliance or whatever will come, we think of Atiku Abubakar, he's still there. We think of Kwankwaso, he's still there. We think of Peter Obi, he's still there. We think of some younger people, Sheye Makin, the governor of Oyo State, and a few others. Believe me, if they do not agree on the person that will lead the alliance now, there is no alliance. Because if they build the alliance will break apart when it comes to choosing who will be the candidate of the alliance. None of them, not Atiku, not Kwankwaso, not Peter Obi, will be in a position to step down for the other. And that will crumble such alliance. So we start from the solution to backwards instead of from building up to the solution. If you don't do that, you have failed. And that is why the example, people should not use the example of Buhari in 2015. In 2015, they started Buhari and into the alliance. Everybody knew this is the leader. We are just coming in to follow him. The situation now is different. The situation with Peter Obi is different. With Atiku is different. With Kwankwaso is different. With any other person today, it's not the same. So I will not put any store on any alliance come 2027.